Okay, in this video, I'm going to discuss life settlements as you would need to know them to pass your life insurance pre-licensing exam. Now, this is off the course material in the state of Florida, so this may or may not completely pertain to whatever state you're in, but I would watch it anyway because it's probably very, very close, if not the exact same in every different state. Some states, life settlements and viatical settlements are regulated, some they're not. They are regulated in Florida. They're actually regulated in most states. But even if they're not regulated in that state, you're probably going to have to learn about them anyway, so keep watching here. Now, a life settlement is a transaction between the owner of a life insurance policy who sells and someone else, and someone who sells that policy for cash. So this is different than a viatical settlement in the sense that most of the time in a life settlement, the policy owner, or actually the insured, is healthy. Usually in a viatical settlement, someone's super sick and they have to get rid of the policy real quick so they can get some money, right? So they sell their policy to someone else who will then later claim the death benefit so that they can get less money up front because they really need it because they're sick and they need to handle some affairs. Life settlements, I guess a viatical settlement could be a type of life settlement in a way, but a lot of times the quote-unquote life settlement comes into play when someone's usually healthy. So usually like they're selling, they don't need the insurance anymore. An example, say I sold my insurance agency for $1 million, okay? Or $5 million, say, and I had $1 million life insurance policy. I may not need that $1 million policy anymore because look, I just got $5 million for the agency, so I don't really need that much of a cushion. Okay, so I'm going to say, you know what, I don't need this anymore. I've been paying into it. I'm just gonna sell it. Okay, so the amount that would be given to me for my $1 million life insurance policy would be based on my health and my age. So it's a sort of like underwriting, quote unquote, where they say, okay, you have $1 million policy based on how old you are and how healthy you are. We're going to give you this amount for it. And that company who pays me for the policy has to just keep making the payments. Now, what I do, I transfer all rights to that company. So it's an absolute assignment of policy ownership being transferred from me to the other company. Okay. Now there's some definitions you may want to know. There's a definition business of life settlement, which pertains to any activity relating to the solicitation or sale of a life settlement contract. Okay. Next is the owner, and the owner in a life settlement contract is actually the person who owns the policy that wants to sell it. Okay. So you see the owner in a life settlement contract is the person who wants to sell it. The provider is the person who is providing the cash to buy the policy from the owner, okay? So if I am the owner of my $1 million policy, the provider is going to come in and give me the money for it. The insured is the person who is insured under the policy. So say my business owned that policy. I am the insured. My business is going to sell it to that other person. Now, life expectancy is essentially how long they think someone will live based on their medical history and other mortality factors and just other factors that play, like gender and stuff like that, and age. So it's how many months do they think I'm going to live based on how long they think I'm going to live and my age and gender and other things. They will pay me a certain amount of money, and then they're going to keep making premium payments on that policy. And when I die, they are going to get the $1 million from the policy. Okay, so there's a life settlement contract. So there's a death benefit, there's a policy ownership, and beneficial interest. So the death benefit is obviously what the person receives when the insured dies, and the policy ownership gets transferred to the person or entity that is buying the life insurance policy. Okay, life settlement broker is the person who negotiates and sells the life settlement. They get a commission for it, and they only represent the policy owner. So they would represent me. So a life settlement broker would represent me to go find someone to buy the policy and give me the money for it. Okay, they represent me and they get a commission on it. And then a life settlement provider is a person who enters in a life settlement contract with the policy owner. So life settlement broker, looking at my best interest, will want to get me as much money as possible. And if they make a percentage of that benefit that I get, or of the payout that I get, then obviously they're looking out for my best interest, trying to get me as much money as possible. So that's the basis of a life settlement contract. So in summary, how it works is you own a life insurance policy, and you don't really need it anymore for whatever reason. Typically, it's more likely it happens with a whole life policy. I don't even know if anybody would do it with a term. But with a whole life policy, say I owned a large whole life policy and I want to sell it to someone else because I don't need it anymore, right? I got $1 million policy. I just came across a ton of cash. I don't need $1 million policy anymore. I am going to sell this policy to someone else who would be a provider through a life settlement contract, and they are going to assume all ownership rights to the policy. They're going to keep paying the claim. They're going to keep paying the premium. They will receive the death benefit claim when I pass away. I am still the insured. Okay? So those are the basics. I hope that helped you. If you want to learn about the different types of life insurance policies you'll have to know about for your life insurance pre-licensing exam, just watch this next video come up. You do not want to miss this. If you have any questions, email me at jve@thejve.com. You can always email me to work with me too. I hire agents across the country to sell life insurance 100% over the phone. We provide all leads, all clientele. Everyone works from home. We got a rocking system. Reach out. Love to work with you.